Hello everyone, welcome to the Digital Marketing Gyaan podcast, your favorite podcast where we interact with eminent guests from digital marketing world and try to understand the latest trends, techniques, case studies and updates in this domain. I'm your host Prince Kumar and today we will be discussing 5 powerful SEO tips to sell your course with our guest Marcio Santos. As the founder of Nerd Digital, Marcio helped course creators from around the world quickly adapt existing courses in a way that is unique and sells. He does this by coaching course creators using this framework, which he learned from working with amazing brands like BMW, BMO, Boba Guys, and many more. Hi, Marcio. A warm welcome on our show.
Hi, Prince. Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm excited.
Great. So to start with our conversation of the day, can you help us a bit about the work experience that you have?
Yes, for sure. Thank you for asking. So I've been working in digital marketing and web design for ages. I started working in graphic and web design back in '99 when I worked at the small studio in Vienna in Austria, working with some pretty interesting brands. But like Danone, for example, was one of them, and Anchor Bros. If you're in Germany or if you're in Austria, you probably know those brands. And it was very basic, like slicing images and JPEGs, the very most basic thing you can think of. But it was fun, and I loved it. I was a self-taught person to learn how to do Photoshop and Illustrator and Dreamweaver, Flash, and were a thing back then. And from there, I ended up working at moving from, let's say, web and graphic design to moving more into course design. So I started to help designing courses and designing learning experiences, creating quizzes, and things like that. And later, I worked at a few agencies. One of the agencies I worked for, I worked on some award-winning campaigns for BMW. I worked with Scotiabank and BMO, and that was super exciting. But at one point, I decided to quit because my mom, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and I wanted to spend as much time as I could with her. And so that's really how Nerd Digital got started.
So we will have to know a bit more about the nerd digital. Uh, I guess that's the reason that you have mentioned upon. So it was like when it was started, around 5 to 6 years back.
Exactly. Yeah, we started 6 years ago.
Okay. Okay. And what are services do you provide for the customers?
So we work specifically with course creators. So people who have a course or coaches that want to have a course and they are struggling to get the marketing and the sales of their course to happen. That's usually who we help. They come knocking and we help them scale. We worked with some very interesting people so far. We love it and we want to do more of it.
Can you share like a few of your prominent clients that you have worked upon, or few of the different verticals of your clients?
Yes, for sure. So it's interesting. When I first got started in working with course creators, just backing up very quickly, when I started Nerd Digital, I started it as a way to really just have more flexibility in my day to day. And so I started doing web design again, graphic design again after leaving the agency. And then I started studying a lot of digital marketing techniques. So things like SEO, email marketing, content marketing, paid advertising, all those different courses that you can think of and digital marketing techniques you can think of, I took them and learned as much as I could. And I basically just sold my time for money. And at some point in that journey, I was working with this company called Kettle Fire. They're based out of Texas. They sell bone broths and soups. They're a category leader there. And it was somebody through my network. They said, "Hey, there's this guy out in California. He has his blog. He has a course. He's much smaller, obviously, but would you be interested in working with him?" And I did. I gave him a try, and I was able to help him doing some SEO stuff, which we can get into in a bit. And after that, he said, "Hey, Marcio, this was great. You helped me increase my organic traffic to my website. Could you help me also maybe sell my course?" And I was like, "Sure. I've never sold a course before, but let's figure it out. I'll learn as much as I can and help you." And so his name is He from radreads.co. He sells a course called Supercharge Your Productivity. When I started working with him, he was doing um, he was doing well. He was doing 5-figure launches for his course. He launches it about 3 or 4 times a year. And after working with him, I was able to help him scale to 6-figure launches. And so from there, I worked with some other people in the market, like industry, like Ted Seides from capitalallocators.com, with Robbie Crabtree from performativespeaking.com, Lorraine Lee from LinkedIn, and also Yana from Tiny CFO. So those are just some of my clients. I've also coached dozens of students and instructors, course creators from the maven.com platform. I've also coached people through classgrowth.co. So Classgrowth is an agency based out of France. I've also coached people there. So basically what I'm saying is I'm obsessed with all this course creation stuff.
Great. So since you have worked in a lot of, you work with a lot of course creators, and the topic that we have is something related to SEO. So can you help us understand that how can someone use SEO in selling their courses?
Yes, for sure. So the broad answer is simply that SEO is, you can view SEO as a technique for you to get more traffic from a channel called organic search. And the way you can use SEO is you can go out, do some keyword research, look for some data, and identify what problems your customers are already looking for solutions for. So if your customers are looking for how to, solve their productivity issues, or how to improve their finances, their business finances, or how to pitch their next Series A, those are all potential opportunities for you to create content around that can get you, free traffic to your website, so you can show that your customer that you have a solution to their problem.
Got it, got it. So definitely, the first step we start with, like for any, like for the target audience of any course creator will be someone who will be searching for this query. So definitely, the more the searches, and if our website is coming at the top rank, then there will be a kind of good inquiries that we'll be getting upon. So definitely,
Sure.
SEO will be one of the key important ingredients that you have mentioned. So, can you help us understand the 5 powerful tips that one can use to sell their courses?
Yeah. So I will I will tell you 5 different things that you can do that you can use SEO to help you sell your course. And so the number one thing that you can do, and this is the reason why it's number one, is that I see this mistake over and over again, and that is to clean up your tags and categories. So if you have a website, which you probably should, where you're sharing your ideas and you're blogging about how you can help people, you probably have a blog set up and you have some tags and categories. And most of the time, if you just leave the default settings of your tags and categories, or you kind of just blindly go in there and start creating tags and categories at random, you'll end up with too much content on your website. And worse, you'll end up with a lot of duplicated content on your website. And you want to avoid that as much as possible. That I've seen just by removing some tags and categories from a website, this has led to increased traffic. So it's a funny thing to say, because you may think like, well, I need to create more and more and more and more content every single day for me to get more traffic. But in fact, you could get more traffic by removing some of the tags and categories on your site. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, I don't know if you have any questions about that.
No, that's perfect, fine. Perfect.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the tip number 2 is somewhat aligned with tip number 1, but that is to delete or set content that doesn't bring in traffic to no index. So it's based around the same idea that you don't want to have too much bloat on your website, too much things that are useless. And even if they're not duplicated, you can still have content on your website that does not perform in search. And so instead of deleting it, because you can still have that as part of your funnel, a recommendation that I have for you is to set that page or these pages or those posts to no index. Because what that'll do is it'll also decrease in the eyes of Google the number of pages that its robot needs to crawl on your site. And it'll also view that page as something that you don't want to link to. And so it helps you. It can help you to consolidate what we call your link juice on the most important pages on your site. So that's tip number 2.
Can you just help the audience understand what is link juice? Because there might be a few audience for them it be a kind of bit technical. So can you just help the audience in a bit simpler way?
Yes, for sure. Sorry for using that term. Link juice is a term that a lot of us SEOs use to describe this idea that whenever you get a link pointing to your website, and this is really the foundation of how the Google search engine was designed, is based around links. And what these links are is links from one website to another website. And so if you have your website and I get a link from Prince's website pointing to my article, let's say, or pointing to this replay, what happens is Google is going to see that link from Prince's website pointing to my website and is going to say, hey, Prince just created a link. That must mean that Prince trusts this other website. And the more links I can get to my website, well, that must mean that this is a very trusted website, right? And so what you want to do is you can collect links to your domain, you collect links to your website, but another thing you can do is consolidate those links onto specific pages, right? And so what you do is you consolidate what we call this idea of link juice. So every link that comes in sends you a little bit of juice. If you can consolidate that juice onto one particular page, it's more likely that that page will outrank competing pages.
Perfect. Yeah, got it.
Cool. So let's jump into
go to the next step.
Okay, so let's jump into tip number 3. And this one is to write your unique point of view. Your unique point of view. And actually the next 3 steps that I'm going to give you are going to help you to do 3 things really well. They're going to help you to be 1, remembered, 2, seen, and then 3, linked to. Okay, so the first thing for you to be remembered is you want to write your unique point of view. So your unique point of view, just going back here. So when you write your unique point of view, this is the way you see the world in relation to the problem that you're solving. So let's say, for example, you're a course creator and you help people to be more productive, right? And so you teach people, hey, this is how you can increase productivity. There has to be something different about how you see the world, how you solve this problem than other people. If you simply start a blog or you create a course and say, I'm going to teach people how to be more productive, it's going to be very, very difficult and challenging for you to sell that course. You want to start off with a different angle, a different approach. And the way this comes out, this approach, is usually from your own story. It's usually from, how did you solve this problem? How is it that you are different in terms of your productivity? Are you simply reading books and then following what's in the books? Or are you reading the books, then applying some kind of spiritual practice, then some kind of exercise practice, then some kind of gaming related? Like, there has to be some kind of difference to the way you get to the end result. If you're simply regurgitating what everybody else is saying, it's going to be very, very challenging for you to sell your course, unless you're willing to put in the time, money, and effort to build a humongous audience that you can then convert into a course. So I'll give you some more examples here, like Kehi from Rad Reads. He wrote these 2 very interesting, he's written dozens and dozens of blog posts, but there's these 2 ideas that he's shared that I think have really set him apart, have really allowed people to remember him for something. And one is this concept that he's touted several times, which is the idea of a slow tortoise. You want to be, and this is, and he teaches a course on productivity, and this idea is that it's better to be slow and consistent instead of trying to do every single task that you can imagine and be fast. And this is interesting because it's very counter to a lot of the advice and ideas that you hear around productivity. Another thing that he posted that was very unique, is it has this unique point of view, is this idea around 10K work. And so this idea of 10K work is also very different from what is out there today in terms of productivity. Another client that I work with, Robbie Crabtree, he has this different point of view when it comes to his audience. So his audience is our startup founders that are trying to raise money, whether that is their Series A or their Series B, and they're trying to raise money. Usually, and again, I'm bringing this back to this idea of being different. Usually the advice you'll hear is write your pitch deck, memorize your pitch deck, and deliver your pitch deck whenever you have the opportunity. His approach is to take your pitch deck and basically throw it out the window. What you want to start with is with a story. You want to be able to tell a story, to craft a story, and share that story in a way that's natural, that you feel good about, so that you can tell the story quickly, you can remember the facts, you can take people through what's important about your pitch in whatever situation, because you're not always going to have, a block set of 15 minutes, really organized. Okay, Marcio, go, tell me your pitch. That's not how life works now. Sometimes you're going to be on an elevator. Sometimes you're going to be in a Slack, in a Zoom meeting with somebody. Sometimes you're going to be just walking down the street and you bump into somebody. You have to be able to adapt your story to each of those situations. And so that's his perspective. He says that storytellers shape the future. It's not you won't sell your idea without a story. So those are a few examples for you to think about when you're crafting this unique point of view article. This is something that you write so that you can be remembered. Okay? And once people remember you for this idea, they'll begin to search for that idea. So that's why it's related to SEO.
Nowadays, there is, if for any if any query you have to search upon, there will be n number of contents that will be present online. But if we have that unique content, then only the audience will be enjoying reading our content, and that will somewhere make us a differentiator compared to our competitors. So having a unique content is the must, and it is the need of our. Along with that, having a unique content, having that content in a storytelling format will do wonder.
Right. So let's get into tip number 4. Tip number 4. This is a tip so that you can improve your chances of being seen. And usually SEO is usually when people try to get into SEO or do SEO, this is really what they're trying to do. They want to be seen. They want to get traffic. They want to get eyeballs. And the way to do that is to create how-to guides. Now, when you're a course creator, this is usually very easy for you to do because if you have the course made, you already know how to solve this problem for something. You created a course on and telling them how to do it. The thing is that your course is way more detailed. Your course usually has every single detailed step. And in your blog post, you simply want to take them through something more broad strokes, right? So you want to give them these how-to guides, but you can also do that in a way that tells them the how, but doesn't tell them the what, right? Actually, that's reversed. It tells them the what and doesn't tell them the how. So I'll give you an example here. Let's say you're searching for a how-to guide, and we'll go back to the productivity example, and you're trying to figure out, how can I get rid of procrastination? And so I can tell you, there are 4 or 5 steps that you need to do to stop procrastination. You need to decrease distractions. You need to set a timer. You need to do Pomodoro. Whatever the steps are, you can tell people. When they go into your course, you're going to get more detailed into each of those steps. Plus, usually the courses that I've worked on in the past, and I highly recommend that you consider this, is you want to, if possible, include an element of community and an element of live training for your courses. The evergreen courses, these courses that you simply record and post on Udemy, or you record and somebody consumes on their own, these types of courses are very, very difficult to sell. And there are also courses that end up with a high rate of refunds, simply because people don't get as much value from the course alone. They need help to learn and apply the knowledge for their specific situation. And this is an easy way for you to actually enhance the value, the perceived value of your course, charge more, earn more, and help more people. So bringing this back to the tip, right? So when you're creating your how-to guide, I first said in the third tip is that you want to do some keyword research to find the opportunities, right? That you can create content around. And after you find these opportunities, you want to find opportunities where you can write how-to guides that align with your course, right? So pick the four or five most interesting modules of your course and write blog posts around those. That's a very easy way for you to be seen in search. The last tip that I recommend is for you to create what I like to call a journey page. And a journey page, you can think about this like a hub page, but this is an upgrade from that. It's a step up. The hub page, usually, for example, if you have a WordPress website, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, once you start creating posts, you can group those posts in a specific category. So if we're talking about productivity, maybe you create the category called productivity on your WordPress website, and then you have 5 or 6 or 10 blog posts under that category. The issue with this category page or this hub page that's created by default by WordPress and other platforms is that there's no order or structure to the content. What I mean is you can go to that page, that productivity category, and you'll see the latest post, or you might see a featured post, or you might see an easy post next to an advanced post. And an easy way to enhance this content, enhance how you are perceived by your audience, enhance how you help people, is simply to reorder things. And you have to do this manually, you have to order things. But you simply want to you can do this in 3 ways. You can do this in a way that is sequential, meaning that, okay, you start here and then you go there, or you can do this by topic. And so let's say, for example, again, we're going to the productivity idea, and you have 10 blog posts that are about productivity. Well, you can group these and organize your blog posts so that when the person arrives on this journey page, at the top of the page, they only see beginner posts. These are like, what is productivity, right? Why you should be more productive, and what are some of the myths around productivity, for example. So these are like introductory, basic topics, because what this allows the user to do is self-identify and say, look, I'm a beginner, or I'm an intermediate, or I'm an advanced user. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to come back here, and then I'll go there, right? So you can have maybe a beginner section with a few posts, an intermediate section with a few posts, and then finally an advanced section with a few posts. This strategy of organizing your content in this way is great, because it enhances the what we call the dwell time on your website. So people that arrive on this page from search, they'll stay longer on this page because they're clicking through, they're reading through the content, they're clicking on the links, they're reading whatever they need, and then they're going back and reading the next post, and then they'll read several links. So the overall dwell time on your website is increasing, which is an important ranking factor for Google. Another really, really important thing about that this does really well is it's easy for you to get links to this page. And remember, when we started the conversation, we're talking about the value of getting links to your website, what we call backlinks, right? So anytime someone points a link to your website, we call that a backlink. And it's easy to get backlinks to this journey page because when you reach out to another partner, or you reach out to another blog, or you reach out to a podcast, or wherever you're going, it's easier for you to say, hey, if you want to learn more on how to be more productive, simply go to mywebsite.com forward
My,
slash productivity, and that page will be that fully organized. It's nicely laid out. It's so easy and helpful for people to use, and it's more likely that people want to link to a resource like that instead of a single blog post. So those are your 5 tips there. 1, clean up your tags and categories. 2, delete or set any content that's not bringing traffic to no index. 3, write your unique point of view so that you can be remembered. 4, create how-to guides for your most valuable modules so you can be seen. And then lastly is create your journey page so you can get links.
Good. So definitely the one that you have mentioned, all the 4 points have kind of a lot of importance, and the the final one which you had mentioned, that was about understanding the user journey. So coming to that, can you just help us understand? Because if we have to look for the user journey, then most of the things will be coming on the website where we have all the content, and most of the content will be based on the stages of the different stages that we have for our audience. So, how we can organize our website, our entire website, according to the user journey of, if someone is looking for a product, kind of any course. So how we can plan our entire website according to that?
So that's a very good question, and there is some nuance to it. There isn't a one size fits all answer for this, because every course is different. Every course is priced differently. Every course is created for a different audience. So it really does depend. But I'll give you a general answer for this, and that is to think about the first interactions that you want to create for people. So what is that 1-2 quick experience that someone can come to your website, and within five minutes they can really learn and get a sense that you are an expert, that you can really help with this problem that they're facing. And a common way to do this, I mean, this is just again a general idea, is for you to get really clear on what are the most common first steps that your audience usually has trouble with. Let's say, for example, going back to this idea of productivity, is it creating their first task list? Is it to create their first dashboard? Is it to get rid of procrastination? Identify, what is that first step that they really need to get started on the process, or something that you hear very commonly, and create a small, let's call it funnel for that. And so you can have a page, let's say your home page can start, with that one solution. You don't want to have like 20 different calls to action on your homepage. Just drive them to one solution. It's download this guide. It's learn to be more productive in these 5 steps here, or learn my method to solve this X problem. I would highly recommend that you do that. So with your homepage, give them this one call to action to do, and from there you want to guide them on their next steps. So after they finished, let's say they downloaded your first guide, you want to direct them to what is the next piece of content that you think they should consume. Should they watch a video from you learning about you, about your process, or should they sign up for a workshop with you so they can go more in depth, or should you send them a series of emails? It really depends on your course and where you are in your journey, but that's how I would recommend you go about it. Be thoughtful about who your customer is and how their needs align with your course and your content.
Got it. So it's more towards understanding the user pain points and then planning the complete content. And so definitely this will help us a lot in order to plan that thing into strategy. So now we have understood a lot of things. There's a kind of one confusion that because a lot of times people get confused with SEO and they compare that with the SEM, with the paid marketing. They start, they start expecting a kind of quick results within a week or within a month or something like that. So there might be few of the other confusions, what we can say, or there might be some myths that people generally have. So have you gone through or have you came through any of these kind of doubts that the customers or our client that generally has related to SEO, that these are the things that they are expecting, but we as a SEO guys cannot deliver that within them. So is there any myth that we have?
Oh yeah, I think there are tons of myths around SEO still, and I think one of them is you could just stuff keywords into your content and it'll rank. This simply does not work anymore. I think in the early days of SEO, you could, you know, fill your website with keywords, with repeated keywords, similar keywords, and that would be enough. But that's no longer the case. I think another very common myth is to think that if you just create content, you just go out and start blogging and blogging and blogging and blogging, that is going to get you traffic, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. You you need to create content. I mean, if you want to get content traffic from SEO, you need to create content that's very thorough, that's very in depth, that's very authoritative, and that outperforms your competition. It's I really, it's hard for me to think about any field out there, any vertical that isn't super crowded and has a lot of content already created. So if you're going into the SEO space, know that you're playing a competitive game and you're competing with other players. So it's not simply, write every day that you're going to get organic traffic. That usually does not work. I think that's one of the worst things you can think about. And third is to think that you don't need to promote your content, that you rely strictly on Google, right? It's kind of like this, I don't know, like this hope marketing, where you create content and then you just sit back and say, you hope, like, oh man, I hope Google sends me traffic. I hope Google sends me traffic. But that's just not the way to do it. You have to manually, physically go out there and promote your content. You have to tell people, you have to share it to your list, you have to promote it on social media. You can run paid ads to the content you've created. You really have to be creative, aggressive, and thorough with how you promote your content. If you don't promote it, it's almost like your content doesn't exist. So that those are three tips I'll give you there for some busting some of these myths around SEO.
Great, great. Also, we have seen like just let me know that if you have faced a problem, that while people come for doing this SEO from like after a month or something, they start expecting a kind of leads or conversions. So what we generally recommend is, since your website is, let's say, new or something like, let us get some traffic. Once you start getting traffic, then you'll be starting getting it. So do you have also have faced any problem, something like that, that people start that after a month or something, I will should be start getting good quality of leads?
Yeah, it depends. There's no way I can tell you, like, yeah, create this content and then in a week or a month you're going to start generating traffic, and that traffic will turn into leads, and those leads will be qualified leads ready to buy your course. There's no way that I could that anybody really can predict how that'll happen. We When you're working in SEO and you're knee deep in it, you're able to get a general sense, like, yeah, probably in a month or 2 months I'll be able to rank within top 10. And if I can rank in top 3, well, the tool, Ahrefs or SEMrush, is telling me that I can get 200 monthly searches for this, or 500 monthly searches. And if I, get a piece of that, let's say 100 monthly searches for ranking top one position, well then, if I convert 100 visits at 20%, then you're generating 20 leads a month from that piece of content. So that's how you would think about it, how you would do your forecasting for traffic and leads.
Got it, got it. So today you have given a lot of advice to our audience, and I guess this will be very much informative for them in order if they implement them into their work. Any last piece of advice that you would like to give to the coaches and to the course creators?
Yes, again, thanks you for having me. Prince, the last parting piece of advice that I would give to any course creator or coach out there that's trying to sell their course, even if you have your course created already, this is still something that you could do and should do, and that is to craft your unique point of view. This is something that I spoke about, and you want to frame your problem, right? So frame the problem that your course solves in a way that your course is the only solution. You want to strive to make your course different than other courses. Avoid at all costs the temptation to think about your course as better, right? Don't think about, oh, my course is better than this one, but you want your course to be different. These other courses, they solve X problem, you want to solve Y problem. So clearly define your outcome, why you're the right person to solve that problem for people, and then frame the problem around that. So, think about your story, how you're solving problems, and really connect with why you're the right person to solve this, why you've created this course, and your unique point of view will come out of that. So I highly recommend that you do that.
Got it. This was helpful. So, with this, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you, Marcio, for sharing these advices with our audience. There are a lot of course creators in the market. If we have to beat our competition, then we have to strategically plan our strategy. The tips that you have shared will be definitely very helpful for our audience to understand and to market their course. Thank you so much and looking forward to have you again on our show and have an interactive.
You're welcome. Thank you, Prince. Have a good day, man.